Welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, let us try to solve quadratic equations by factoring. Let me explain the procedure in this presentation, and then in my next presentation we shall look at how to use this procedure to solve some simple example problems. So in here we are looking at the general form of a quadratic equation. The general form of a quadratic equation is like this: ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. I'm going to put a box, the red box around it. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. That is the general form. So I'm going to explain how to factor the left hand side, that is ax squared plus bx plus c, in just a few minutes. I want to explain the zero factor property, and then I will explain the procedure to factor out the quadratic equation. So the the factor property is telling us that if we have two terms a and b, and if those are equal to 0, then either a will be equal to 0 or b will be equal to 0. So if a is an algebraic expression and b is another algebraic expression, and then if we were to equate a times b as equal to 0, then either the first algebraic expression is going to be equal to 0, therefore we can find the variable terms, or the second variable expression is going to be, the second algebraic expression could be equal to 0, and therefore we can go find the variables, the unknown variables there. So that we will use this zero factor property in factoring out this quadratic equation. Let me now explain the procedure to solve this quadratic equation by factoring. I'm going to explain that by these different steps, and we will see how this works. Okay. The procedure to solve quadratic equations by factoring is as follows. Step number 1. Use trial and error process and identify two numbers. And the second step is find the product of the first term a and the last term c. First term a and last term c. And what I mean by that is, in the quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c, I'm talking about these two expressions, a and c. Find the product of the first term a and the last term c. The step number 3. The sum of the same two numbers which we have selected in step number 2 should equal the middle term b. That is this middle term b. Okay. We want to then identify those two numbers, and then once we identify those two numbers, in step number 5 we're going to say expand the middle term using the two numbers. The middle term is b. We will expand the middle term using these two numbers. Then, as step number 6, we're going to say use factoring by grouping technique to factor out the given trinomial. It is basically the left hand side of the quadratic equation is a trinomial. It has 3 terms in it. So we're going to factor out by using the factoring by grouping technique. We're going to factor it out. Then step number 7, we're going to use the zero factor property. Once we factor it out, we will have two algebraic expressions. Either the first algebraic expression is equal to 0, or the second algebraic expression is going to equal to 0. Therefore we should be able to therefore find the value of the variables from there. Then that is step number 8. We have used this procedure to factor trinomials in my previous presentation. Please review my previous video presentations related to factoring trinomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c, and also watch my videos related to factoring trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. The procedure to factor quadratic equations is very similar to what we have done in factoring trinomials in the past. So the procedure is exactly the same. The one extra step we're going to use in this process here is to equate it to 0, because a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Therefore we want to solve for that for the value x, or the variable in that particular given quadratic equation. So we will use this procedure to solve some example problems in my next presentation.